And I'm live. That is pretty cool. Today is 11th of March 2026, Wednesday. And before beginning, a quote from Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Okay, for today, let's see this one. This says, consider that man, okay, stream is cool. Consider that men will do the same things nevertheless, even though thou shouldst burst. This is the English is kind of old, the biblical English. But again, consider that men will do the same things nevertheless, even though thou shouldst burst. That is, even if something is making you like angry or uncomfortable, men will still do it. They like do not care. So do not make yourself too worked up. Okay, what are the goals for today? I have written two things, like actually written them down with pen and paper, which I can find it. Okay, skill draw. Okay, there are two things that I want to do. One is wait a minute. Okay, in the chess game, first of all, fix the bugs in front end. Then second would be add sounds to moves, and then the third would be just a random CSS quest or challenge, you could say, is make 3D perspective. And what is okay, first one is like obvious what it means, to fix the bugs. And second one, make sounds, add sounds to moves, is also obvious what we have to do, but how we have to do it, we will figure it out. And make 3D perspective, what does that mean? That is the library that I'm using for sharing the state in the front end. Shit, yep, the tree sitter is bad. In the front end is Zobrist. No, not Zobrist. Zobrist does not even make sense. This one, Zustand. And Zustand here, this thing. I don't think I will be able to make this. This just looks a bit too cool. I don't think I can make this. Maybe I can make this, but what I have in my mind is what we will do. We will have a scene. I'm talking about this third quest for today. We will have a scene, right? It will have a background, right? Yep. It will have some background, some static background. Let's say some stars or something which do not move, and then ahead of it, stars, let's say that is at the back, they do not move. And then ahead of the stars, let's say we will have some mountains which will move slowly. This is going to be our second scene. And in front of the mountains, let's say we will have some ground or trees. Yeah, trees is cool, brown trees. Let's say we will have some trees, and in front of the trees, let's say, what should be the like focus of our thing? I think we can put a man there, or a walrus. Cool shade, yes, that would be cool. We will have a walrus there, and this would be the thing that is closest to the camera. And when we span our mouse, the thing at the background, that will not move at all. Second thing will move a little bit, third thing will move a little bit, and this one will move the most. So that is how we create 3D effect. It is going to be the third task after we fix the bugs in the front end and also add sounds. And yes, one more thing that I want to do today is make this reproducible, make this shareable. I think Docker, we could use Docker with this. I want other people also, if they want to use this, and I want to make the process seemingly easy. So we could use Docker, or we will have to see. I guess Docker would be cool. Docker would be cool. We will also learn about Docker. And if we do want to learn about Docker, then there is, I guess, nothing better than boot.dev. Right? Yep, boot.dev, learning paths. Shit, I will have to sign in. Yep, and it works. Okay. In here, we do have a course on Docker, which is cool. Docker is cool. Yep, I guess we will use Docker or something. Okay, first of all, we have to fix the bugs for today. Cool. Run white and shit. Yes, because we are not in the front end folder. One run white and cool. One run back and cool. Logs.md, delete that other file. Let's finish up the front end. Okay. Localhost, start game, and my phone is going to die. That is fine. And here also localhost, start, and wait. I don't think there is anything in application. Yep, there is nothing in application, and even still we are able to do this. And I guess, yep, error starting game because the user is not signed in. Makes sense. So we have to sign in before. Sign up with black and white. Cool. And let me put my phone on charge. Yeah, cool. Okay, this one is already signed in. Let's make. Should I think I should be able to log in already. I created an account yesterday. Orphan00, and password was password. Cool, cool. I am signed in. Do we see something on the back? Yep. User logged in Orphan00. Okay. Okay, and okay, start game. Start game. Start game. Loading. Start game. Both are loading. Cool. And this person is black. This person is white. We have to switch the boot for white. Yep. And about the game, look at this. Like, shit, that is so fucking cool. I cannot make illegal moves, but I can make legal moves, and they will be seen by the other player. Cool. We can like legit play a whole match. Now black, and then comes white. This is cool. This is cool. This is very cool. Like actually. Now let's flip this out. Yep, we will have to flip the board for the white user. This is enums. Hey, cool. Here. In here we have our board. Yep, I want to fix two things. Let me add it to log. Today is 11. Flip board according to the player's color. According to the player's color, flip the board. And And yes, flip the board, or we can even provide a button for the player to flip the board. That would be cool. Fine, completely fine. Therefore, we should keep it in a state. Uh, Keep a state variable boolean boolean. Cool. First thing is this, and second thing is add the on message handler to the web socket while creating the web socket, since adding it adding it later on the start page itself, since adding it later on the play uh, page is too late, and the message has already been sent by the back end. Cool. Cool. So first of all, let's fix this. The board, the color. Who needs to keep track of the color? Just the board. But we also want to make the flip button available outside the board. So I think yes, that state is required by two things: a button, a flip state button, and the board. So we can keep it in their parent, who happens to be the whole page. So okay, const board side, set board side. No, colors white or black. White or black makes more sense, I think, instead of keeping a boolean thing. So not boolean, but color. Okay, so let's make a button which changes this state, and this will only happen if the game is running. Right, this will only happen if the game is running. If the game is running, add a new button which we can use from chat cn. Shit, yes. Button from chat cn. Cool. On click, we will toggle the state, not disconnect. That does not make sense. My bad. Const handle board flip button click. Makes sense. This does not take in anything, I guess. Yeah. Set board side here. Okay, cool. Cool. And depending, wait, yes, we can inside this thing conditionally show the piece. Okay, yes, that would be cool. Uh, let's say we have white king and black king. Okay, inside this button we will show the white king or the black king depending on what the color is. Board side equals colors dot white white king. This takes in size let's say 15 for now. We will have to like see what is good. White king, cannot use white king as value. It is imported using import type. Why imported as type? Okay, white king, and the other would be black king. Black king. Okay, what do we see? We right now don't see anything because there is like error. You have to restart the game. Play, start the game, and here also start the game and start. Okay, we do see this, and it is flipping. Cool. Now we have to put this state in the board too so that we flip the board. Cool. Board takes in board side. Board side. Yep. Color along with color and everything that it is taking. It takes in board side. What is board? Board side is a color. Colors. Cool. And the error is it is declared but never being used. Yep, it will be used, do not worry. First of all, we have to change it. We have to completely change the way that we are looping over the board. That is a bit messed up. We have to change the way that we are looping over the board, and also change the way that this get square function is working. Now if board side equals colors dot black, colors cannot be used as a value because it was imported as a type. And is there an error? Now there is an error. Okay, yep. Else return share chat GPT share. That is pretty cool. Codium knows. Okay, that is handled, and now the thing that we are seeing on the board, that also needs to be handled, for which we have to change the way that we are looping over. Map just loops over it. How to loop over items in a list in JS in reverse order. How do we do that? Inside dot reverse. Shit, I think no, I would not like to do this. Two reverse is good, I think. Dot reverse for each. We have to reverse the board and the rows and the columns both. We cannot define anything. Yep. The way that we are reversing, we have to change the way that we are looping. We have to change the way that we are looping, for which board side. Okay, board iterator, let's say board okay, board iterator. Yes, that is what we say this thing is. Okay, board iterator. Board iterator. And this is empty. That is very good. And board, we can define board iterator here, const board iterator of type board type equals board, like that works. We can define another use effect which runs every time that the board changes, and every time the board changes or something else changes. Well, every time that board side changes, we would like to flip the board iterator thing, and I guess every time that happens, we would just run use effect anyway. Wait, no, no use. Yeah, we will have to define another use effect. Use effect, and here board side. Every time board side changes, update board iterator. If board side equals colors dot white. If it equals colors dot black, then we can just say board iterator just equals the board. Else if it is white, we have to switch everything up. For let I equals 0, or for let row of board let row index in board, we do need the index, we'll do board iterator row I equals board row I dot reverse. Pieces array is not assignable to that thing. Not other errors. Shit, why parameter row is, no, it is not. School board iterator is okay. Board iterator. Board iterator is okay. Okay. Board iterator road. I think we can just say as row. Cool. We are cool. I think if I do start, go here, and start again from this, start again from this. Okay, we don't. We're just flipping this shit. Makes sense. Okay. If the thing is black, then make it as it is. Otherwise, reverse the rows like this, and then board iterator equals board iterator dot reverse. iterator equals board dot reverse as board type, and then for let row of board iterator itself, you will do row dot reverse, wait, row dot reverse changes uh, dot reverse in JS returns the object and doesn't change the original one. I think incorrect. Shit, reverses an array in place, meaning it directly shit. Okay, this thing directly modifies the thing, so we should not do this. And we don't even have to check for black, because that is fine. Board iterator dot reverse if current, if we want to have if we want to have if we want to have a1 at top right, we shade. I think okay, this is much better. Otherwise, flip the rows and the columns. Flip the rows and the columns for let row of board iterator and reverse the rows like this. And where is the error? We have error here. Okay, and when I click on this, when this thing is black, I see black, but when this becomes white, I do not see white. Why? There's no white. That is a problem. Okay, this is the board. This is the board. This is the board. This is the board. Let's print whenever this function runs. Console.log colors bracket, or we can just do board side. Here board, here on click, run this handle board where set board side shit. We take in the current board side value, and if it is equal to white, we return black, and if it is equal to black, we return white. And initially also we have to change the value to the right color. Initially, this means we first of all should not be logging all of this. That is kind of sad. Empty sock. Shit, yeah, empty socket. Cool. Game start. Handle start of game. Here set game start. Game dot color. Yeah, set board side equal to data dot color. Start. Here also start. Start a game. Start the game. And shit, we do not see this differently. That is a problem. .com. When the kings are on the E file. Kings are on the E file. Okay, shit, this board is wrong. This board is like legit wrong. Okay, this board is wrong. Makes sense. Because we have A1 here. A1 can either be here or it can be here and not here. A1 is here. Makes sense. Shit. Okay, shit. Which means we have to reverse the iterator board. Yes, we will have two boards. One is the board that we are showing, and one is the board that is being used for checking the validation of the move. Makes sense. One is the board that we are showing, and one is the board being used for validation of the move. Okay, validation board is this one, or we can call this board shown. Makes more sense. Substitute board iterator with show board shown. Cool. Board shown is this, or whenever the board changes, on then also create this. Cool. Console.log board side, and what do we see in console.log? White, black, white, black, white, black, white, black. So this is updating, but I'm not updating there. Okay, shit. Why is the other thing not updating? Okay. Whenever either board side changes, what should be the normal board? When black, even we need to flip the rows. Yes, cool, makes sense. If white, we need to flip the columns, in which case this is okay. Else we need to flip the rows. For let row of board shown row dot. Okay, I guess we are getting the current value of board side here and not some old value inside user effect. I guess we are. I guess we are. Let's print some stuff. We see black and that is wrong, certainly. When we see black, we see white at the bottom, which is a bit messed up. When we see color black, we are reversing every row. Okay, what does it mean when we say row? Row, row. This thing at the top left, row. Black, we reversed every row. We reversed every row. What does it mean? Hello. Yep, completing the front end. How much time? I guess 10 days, maybe. Because right now the game is actually working. The game is actually working. I broke it a little bit because I added this button. This is not working correctly to switch the color accordingly. This is not working right now, but let me like remove this and show you how it was working before I messed this up. Return row and column, and okay, I guess we are both side is not being used. That is like completely fine. Okay, this is how it was yesterday, and this is like actually working. Let me show you. Everything is like hand built here. Cool. Look at this, and game starts. This person is black, this person is white. Let's say white plays this move, and I can since I am a white player, I can only move white pieces and I cannot make illegal moves because that does not make sense. I can only make legal moves, and when I made a move it went to the other board, which is cool. And let's say then I do this, that goes to the other board. Then I play another move. I cannot play legal moves. I cannot play illegal moves. Okay, shit, that is a bit wrong. Why am I picking up the rook? I guess because I changed this size. Yes, I changed the size. I guess that is the reason. That makes sense. Shit, if I refresh, I hope this does not blow. Yes, there are little bugs I will have to fix. There are some bugs. Shit. Okay, shit. Resizing the screen messes things up. And look at this. Since this player refreshed their thing, this player refreshed their what connection, their WebSocket dot got disconnected, and this one said that black is the winner. So like this, the other player is getting the information that you have won the game. Yep, the site breaks. Wait, the site does not break. I am not able to pick the right cell for the squares. That is something. Okay, back to like resizing. Bro, this will be like so good. when this works, and I'll deploy this, so it'll be pretty cool. That is another level of learning. This is cool. Yeah, this is like learning cool. It's very cool. This is much better than taking a course, which is also important, taking courses, but this is better. Okay, let's start a game here and here. Yep, this takes a second, and the delay is intentional, which I will fix today. Here, the third thing, fix the, okay, it is the first thing, fix the bugs in the front end, the first thing. Flipping the board. Okay, which square is 0 1? This is 0 0, right? This is 0 0. This is 0 1. This is 0 1. This is a row, right? Yes, this is a row. This top thing is a row. What does that mean? This top thing is a row. This is row. This whole thing is a row. This whole thing is a row. When, like, right now, this is messed up. This is not how chess looks. This is correct. White, this person is white. They should see the board from a white person's perspective, but they are not seeing the board. Board color. This is a row. When we are, this is, okay, what do we have to flip? Here, when we are looking at this from the perspective of a black player, we would like to switch individual rows, which is exactly what we are doing. When we are black, go through each row and reverse that row. Cool. And when we are seeing from the perspective of a white player, let's say, then flip the rows. Okay, flip both the things. Flip both the things. So flipping each individual row internally is something that we always have to do. And in case of white, we just flip the board like this, I think, and we are okay. No, something is wrong. Shit. Uh, in case of white, we do not switch the rows. We keep the king on the right because that is E. This is the E place, E, like E rank, or whatever it is called. Haven't used it for a month. Wait, man, I gotta start new Vim. Okay, shit, yes, start new Vim. One thing that I did when I wanted to start new Vim, I just deleted VS Code. But I think you cannot do this because you actually have a job. You are not like free like me. Haven't used it for a month now. Shit, that is sad. This job takes too much of my time, and rest of the day, open source needs to be quick. Yep. And I saw that you made a commit, which I think you were working on that commit for 2 weeks, and it is your latest pull request, not a commit. Shit, commit is stupid. You have made a lot of commits, but pull request on your GitHub, you got it merged, I think yesterday. Yes, I was stalking you. Okay, so sometimes this is always working. We do not get a re-render when the board side changes. No, we should get a re-render whenever board side changes. Yes, we should get a re-render whenever board side changes. So why are we not getting a re-render? Okay, let's print this, and I would like to write some things here, and they are: by default we have A1 at the top left. For white we have to swap the rows, that is, i.e., that is, make row 0 equal to row 7. In case of white, when we want to look at the board from the white person's perspective. For black we have to swap the columns, swap the rows internally, that is, row 0 0 equals row 0's 7. Row, yes, just like this swap. Cool. And that is what we are doing. For white, reverse the board, reverse the rows. We do have a print board function which we can use here. Board shown. Let's see what do we get. Start the game. Okay, I messed up somewhere. Start the game here. Start the game here. Okay, print board shown. Console. Bun is not defined. Bun is not defined. Game.ts. Shit. Bun is not defined. Bun is console.log. Okay. What do we see? When this is black, for white at bottom, for white at bottom, for white at bottom, yes, for white at bottom, for black at bottom. So for white we reverse the rows, and for yes. Okay, right now we are looking at it from white's perspective. Okay, we did not get a re-render, or maybe the shit. Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. Use ref. Use ref instead of this. Cool. Const use board shown ref equals use ref of type board initially just equals board, or board type is the type, and board shown dot board shown substitute in this whole board shown with board shown ref dot current, and everything is okay. And think we are kind of okay. Okay, when I click on black, shit, yep, and this should have changed. Black king should be on the left and not where it is. Whenever board side changes, or board or the board changes. Console.log, we did saw board black, so we are not getting a re-render, or the re-render is happening later on. Okay, how do we fix this? Before fixing, we have to be able to like describe the problem in more better terms, and the problem is that I have a state variable in React which is passed down to it from a parent component. I guess I should not keep this in here. Yes, shit, I think I can just put this out. It's like I remove the use effect, and this would work. The problem is here, whenever the re-render is happening, it is taking the older value of board shown ref. When board shown ref is updating, is rendering or updating, like I guess the use effect is running later on, and we are already getting the render on the screen. Therefore, this is not taking the latest value of board shown. It is still the same error exists, and sometimes I'm just getting a random value for this. Like right now, yep, this is like this. Okay, wait, why do we have the white queen here? White queen, why do we have white queen here? Yes, this is like absolutely correct. Yes, this is how the board should be seen. But when we go to black, we just flip the board. Why do we flip the board? We are not changing the board, we are just changing the board ref. Okay, shit. Console.log board. What is the board? Okay, when white, we saw that the original board is like this. Right, the original board is like this, and we switched it. We didn't do anything. We didn't do anything. Console.log board side white. Okay, let's say the board side is black. Then the original board was like this, and we switched it, and in case of black, we just switch left to right. Yes, here we had black king, and here also we had black king. Okay, we are somehow changing the board itself. Shade, because they point to the same object. Of course, that makes so much sense, because they are pointing to the same object. Shade, yes, because they are pointing to the same object. Okay, shade, that is very stupid. Cons, or let board shown equals board, right? Yes, and the type is, just in case we will write it down, type is board, and use effect, and this changes whenever board side changes or the board changes. Yeah, whenever board side changes or the board changes. Shit, this was like so stupid. Okay, structured clone, or we like, yeah, we don't even initialize this thing. Board shown equals structured clone of the board. And now we are actually talking. Board shown ref. Okay, substitute shown ref with globally, and shit, substitute shown ref dot current with shown. Look, cool, and shit, substitute shown ref dot current with capital S. Shown. Board shown dot, it is used before being assigned. Okay, which is sad. So here you can just say board. Initially it is board, so this thing is never null. And okay, this thing now just never changes, which is sad. Shit. We do see the board and the other board being printed. I guess the value has to be a use ref shared. Yes, shared const board shown ref equals use ref of type board type, and initially it is equal to board, and here substitute shown, yep, with shown ref dot correct. Cool, and what do we see? Okay, that is much better. That, okay, shit, that is much better. That is much better. That is very cool. That is very cool. And okay, shit, that is very cool. So at least the board which we are seeing, that is correct. Like, yes, that is pretty cool. Now we have to change the way. Yeah, now we have to change how we are calculating the cell which we are clicking. Get a square being clicked. Yes, here. If board side is white, if the board side is black, and in case of black we reversed the row. In case of black we reversed the rows individually, which means row 0 0 got swapped with row 0 1, which is like saying we flipped the columns. Wait, not a 1 but 7. So instead of 7 we would like to have 0, and instead of 1 we would like to have 6, for which you can just say column 7 minus column. And here, in case of white, we reverse the rows, which means row 0 became equal to row 7. They got swapped with each other, and the column is same, column is same, the row changed. I guess that is cool. Okay, let's see. This person is black. In case of white, shit, this is like opposite of what we want. Okay, something messed up happened again. Black. Right now we are looking at black, and okay, the original board, in the original board we have white at the top, and in the final board also we have white at the top. How? And the board that we are seeing, oh, the king changed. Okay, shit, this is okay. No, this is not okay. This is legit not okay. When we click on black, when we click on white, we have white at the top, and in the final board we have black at the top, but we do not see that here. Why do we not see that here? What are we using? Here we are using board ref. Nope, that is not the concern. Board shown ref. I guess we just have to restart the server, or like the front end thing. Start. 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 Okay, that is like certainly wrong. This person is white, and this person is not seeing white. If white, then reverse this. As board type. As board type. What do we see? Okay, in case of white, we do see white at the bottom, and no. This is like opposite of what we want. Maybe. Nope. Nope. We are seeing the opposite of what we want, which is messed up. This is wrong. Should not this. This thing. Make this bigger. Okay. When we are saying that we want a white to be at the bottom, the original board has white at the top, and the final board has black at the top. Then why don't we see black at the top? We do see black at the. Okay, that is just like crazy. That is just like crazy. Shit. Move this from use effect. Okay, now we do see the right thing. It's pretty cool. Okay, now we do see the right thing. We do see the right thing. That is very cool. That is very cool. When we click on black, we do see the board from black's perspective. Cool. And when we click on white, we do see the board from white's perspective. But the error is this. What is this? What is this? Shit, board selection is messed up. Board selection, the way that we are getting which piece we are clicking on is messed up. Look at this. Look at. Okay. Look at this. Look at this. Okay. That is wrong. That is wrong. In case of black, if we are looking at the board from the black person's perspective, we know that we switched the rows like this, which means if I am currently on 0 0, this row, the way that is it is calculating this row and column is, this row is 0 0, this row is 0 and column is 0, and this is row 0 column 1, this cell is row 0 column 2, and so on. Columns increase like this, left to right. I guess my face is inverted. Yes, columns increase like this, left to right, and rows increase like this from top to bottom. So this cell, if on the board which is shown, if I click on this cell, it actually means that I clicked on this cell, which means 0 means 7 and 7 means 0, and in terms of column that is. So we changed the column. Column number 0 means column number 7, column number 1 means column number 6, and also vice versa. Cool. I think this is the right way to do it. And when we are white, when we are looking at the board from white person's perspective, we switch the column. Okay, for example, let's see. I'm looking at this thing and I clicked on this. This algorithm will say that I clicked on board number 0 1 0, row 0 1 2 3 4 5 6, row number 6, which is correct. We do not have to do anything with the row is absolutely correct. But column, let's say we clicked on this, this is column number 2 from the board's perspective, the board that we are seeing. But on the actual board, under the hood, wait, this is column number 1, but on the actual board this is column number 6, this piece, which is correct, for which we are like doing this 7 minus column. So this should be working. And in case of white, when we are looking at this from the white's perspective, the board that we are seeing is this. Let's say I click on this thing, this row and column will turn Yes, this row and column will turn out to be let's say this piece right here. This is black, so I cannot move. Yep. I also have to fix that whenever there is a reload, the game just ends because the WebSocket connection closes. It's messed up. Okay, yep, this person is white. Yep. Yes, resizing messes up the way that we are calculating shit. Resizing messes up the way that we are calculating shit. Yep. Resizing does mess it up. Which we'll handle in a bit. But before that, we have to consider this. Okay. So the log, row, and column. Let's say these were original row and column, and console.log. Do not return directly, just say row equals 7 minus row. Shit, not row, but column equals 7 minus column, or column minus 7, no, 7 minus column. And in this case, row equals 7 minus row. And then return row and column. Yep, print the original here. Print the new ones here, or updated, let's say. Start, start, start a game, start a game. Okay, and this person is white, and let's also, yeah, that would mess up. Just switching the screen like that. Shit. I guess I will have to, yeah, restart the game. Start the game, start, console.log. I click on this. Okay, original was 6.4, which is correct. Original was 6.4, but updated was 1.4, 1.4, 1, and 4. Okay, shit. The conversion is like amazing. No problem with the conversion. Shit, yes, I am able to play a move. Cool, let's say switch the board, and then I play the move as a white player. Why am I not getting the latest value of board side? I am not here getting, I am here not getting the latest value of board side, which is messed up. Board side black. Yes, I am getting the latest black. Yes, original was 5 to, okay, now it is okay. Now I am able to play a move from the black person's perspective. Let's say this person, yep, here I'm not able to play a move, and here also. I suppose now I am able to play a move here, but here, hmm. And this is also fun. This is also like fun. And now whose chance it is? Is it? I think black. Yes. Shit. It is not black person's chance. So is it white? It is not the white person's chance. Then whose chance is it? Okay. I was not able to play this move because it was said to be invalid somehow. Okay. Okay. There is a problem with the backend. It seems the validation function. There is a problem with the validation function. Let's say what. Okay, yes, the validation is messed up. Black. This thing says black, which is wrong. Board side is not black, it is white right now. So we are not getting the latest value of board side in here. Yep, we are not able to get the latest value of board side in here. Which does make sense, get a square being clicked. Yes, because it is somehow being defined here. And now we are redefining the function every time that this component renders, which is also not right. So we should use ref, or we should ask chat gpt for a like good solution in this problem. Hello broski, what is broski? Is found you randomly on YouTube feed. I really want to know why the fuck are you not using Claude Code? Because I am learning and using Claude Code would be easier, right? Like, I think writing, not I think, it is actually writing the code on my own is more difficult than using Claude Code. And yeah, so for learning, I can write stuff on my own. And when I'm like working or doing something where I'm not majorly learning, then I can use Cloud Code because it is easier to use Cloud Code than to actually write code. Okay, now I have a handler function defined inside use effect, which uses a state being passed to that function as a prop, but I am getting the value of that state variable, which it was originally when the function was defined. This is called closure. When the function was defined, uh, I want the latest value of that variable. I could use ref here. I could use ref here, or I could define the function outside use effect in the component definition. inside outside use effect in the component definition. But in this case, when I define the function outside use effect in the component, in that case, every time that the component re-renders, we will have the function being defined again, question mark, like I don't know, is it being defined again? And also, why should anyone learn to write code manually when eventually I mean, okay, that is up to you. You do not want to learn how to write code manually, that is like your choice. I want to learn how to write manually. Also, why care about it manually when you either ask ChatGPT for help? I am asking ChatGPT to understand what is happening, so that I'm not asking it to give me code to fix my thing. And I have not given ChatGPT the code. I understand what is happening here. I am describing to ChatGPT in English. Like I'm not giving it code. I'm describing what I think is happening, and I'm asking it as I would ask a senior engineer to help me out. I think this is happening, and what should happen when the state variable appears. Like right now, here I have this use effect. Inside this use effect, I have defined this function. It's use effect. Okay, I put the function outside the use effect, and the problem is this function get square being clicked, this function is being defined inside use effect. And when I'm defining this function, I'm using this variable board side, and this board side variable is like whatever its value is when this function was defined, that is the only value which I get whenever this function runs. Like if this function runs again, I will not get the latest value of board side. I will get the value of board side which it was when this function was defined. And this is called closure. So how do I fix it? There are two solutions. I could either use ref here, like I'm using for other things like this or this. That is one solution. Or other solution is to define this function outside use effect. But I think that might be not effective because we would be defining this function every time that this component re-renders. So yeah, I will have to see which is better. Plus, you have to explain everything to ChatGPT every time. It has no context of your code base. Yep. Unless you tell it. Yep. Much simpler to let Claude look at your code and give you suggestions. I mean, that would be the ideal if my whole goal was to just get something done and not learn anything on my own. Anyways, good luck. Thank you. In my opinion, you're just wasting your time, lad. Okay. That is your opinion. And you are entitled to your opinion. Okay. Where is ChatGPT? Here, use effect handler. This takes the state and we get, yes, closure. When the state value appears, when React runs your component, it executes the function from top to bottom. Yep. And creates a new state variable for that render. Creates, yep. Handler captures the value of the state from that. It captures from that specific, because the dependency array is empty, the effect only runs once, so the handler gets registered, for example, to an event listener and always sees the initial value. Okay, because the like dependency array is empty. It is not React doing something magical, it is just JavaScript closure. Yep, JavaScript closures make sense. Define the function outside, you suggested, yep, yes, the function will be recreated on every render, but here is the key point many people miss. Creating functions in JavaScript is extremely cheap. Okay, React creates functions object arrays every render anyway. Okay, the real problem is not creation cost. The problem is identity stability when used in effect or event listeners. In your example, because handler changes every render, but your use effector runs only once, the event listener keeps the first version. Yep, it does. Okay, so first, function creation in JavaScript is very cheap. Okay, okay, we will take it as a fact. But why are functions, objects, and arrays being created every render anyway? That does not make sense. The correct pattern A include state independencies. No, I think I could do this. Include the state independency and write a separate use effect for this thing. Now React will remove the old listener and add the new one. Okay, pattern B, use userref for stable listener. If you don't want to listen to be reattached every render, userref. Now event listener attached once always reads the latest value. This pattern is common for WebSocket, handler, DOM, event stuff. Use callback sometimes. Okay, the deeper mental model, render state one. Think of React like this: every render is a snapshot of time. Okay, okay, okay. I guess in that case, I do not want to use useref. Yep, that somehow seems sloppy. I could define a use effect separately for just this function. Okay, let's see. I have multiple use effects, or I have multiple things inside the same use effect. I have multiple things inside the same use effect. I have multiple things inside the same use effect, and adding the state to this to a dependency array will run all those things every time, so I can use a different use effect for especially this function. Is it like standard? Is standard to have multiple use effects in a component? Okay, shit. It's having multiple use effect hooks in a component is not only normal, it is recommended. Shit, okay. React's design actually encourages splitting effects by purpose. Why a single use effect is usually a mistake. Many people initially write something like this. Yup. Okay, split effect by responsibility. That is very cool. I didn't know this. This is a new mental model, so that is pretty cool. Split up use effect. Okay, shit. Shit, but shit. Okay, shit. Yes, shit. But the problem is, yes, shit. But now the problem is, if I do use separate use effect, if I do use a separate use effect, I don't get that function in scope to be called by other use effect functions. Yes. So what I could do is we could, yeah, what we could do is we could define this function outside use effect, or not define but declare this function outside use effect, and then, or maybe make this global somehow. Or the function is not visible. Of course it is not visible because of the scope thing. Handler only exists inside. Yep, the correct structure would be handler whenever handler. Shit. Okay, that is even crazier. Put this handler in as the in the dependency array. If multiple effects need this, no, multiple effects when recreating the function becomes a problem. Sometimes you need stable. Okay, they are saying do not put the function inside use effect if multiple effects needed is define it at component level, not inside an effect. Both effects can access handler. Okay, React can track. Yes, function is recreated on each render, but it is normal. Okay, usually harmless. And mouse handler down, and yep, the use effect here has nothing. Empty dependency array means that this runs. Okay, I know that. Clean up event listeners. Only the handler functions are defined inside this thing, which is mounting and unmounting. Shit, which makes so much sense. Okay, I can just keep this mounting and unmounting part inside use effect and remove everything else. Because as someone said, creating functions in JavaScript is very cheap. Okay, cool. That is cool. Yo, hello. Yeah, keep up the good work, brother. Yep, I will. And moderator, you are here. Hello, moderator. I expect you to like do the rest of the work, other half of the work. We are working on this project together, right? Okay, shade. This makes sense. Window size constant. Okay, what did we fix? We fixed just the switching part. Cool. We are able to switch cleanly. Okay, this player is black. They should be able to play a move as black. And if it switch, ah, shit. Okay. Let's like refresh and see what happens. Start. Loading and cool. This is white. This is the black person, white person. Shit. Start. Start. Loading. Okay, this is the white person. White person plays a move. Cool. Black person plays a move by switching the board and nothing. Original the square which was shit. Why is the row not? Why do we see black here again? Still shit. Okay, that is wrong. We see here white, but here we are seeing black. That is like wrong, which makes sense. Shit. This thing, board side. This is black, even though we are changing it. Console.log board. Yes, why is this thing wrong? Board side, okay, and for the other board side, we also got black, which is messed up. Totally. Yeah, black, white. Now it is white, cool. Now it is black, cool. I'm able to play a move here. Black, black, white, black. This thing says black. This thing says black. This thing says black. This thing says black. Shit. This thing says black. Shit. This state is old. We are not getting. Okay. We have to put the handler function here. Ah, shit. Okay, we have to put the handler function here. Boot side. When our boot side changes, yeah, flip stuff. Okay, now we are able to play a move here. Now, okay, cool. Now it is much better. And what was the problem? Cool, cool. This is very cool. Switch, play a move. Let's say we do play a move. Okay, here on white side, play a move, switch. Yes. Okay, we can apparently move our queen out. Well, that is wrong. That is a problem with the backend. Okay, our move validation function is not perfect. But okay, at least we are able to play moves like this. Cool. Status, and we have a like random folder, random file here named w. Delete. Cool. What did we change? Git diff. Yeah, we changed some log stuff. And I would like to give some comments on not this, but here. Use effect, yep. And this has to or event listener has to be updated on every time board side changes, because the definition of or multi-line comments would be better here, I guess. Yes, event listener function has to be removed and added every time that board side changes, and that board side changes because this function changes. What is the name of this function? This get square being clicked function depends on board side. depends on boot side, which affects the handler functions, which affects the handler functions. Cool. Yeah, that is enough. Okay, that is good. That is good. We can make a commit for this message. Feature. This is a feature. Board can flipped by the player successfully. Board can be flipped by the player successfully. Okay, push. It is in main. Cool. Now I also want to add a few more things here, like non-valid moves. We have seen at this point like two invalid moves being validated by the backend, which is like wrong. Okay, okay. So we did fix this resizing problem, resizing problem, resizing problem. Log, flip the board, flip the board. Yep. For flipping the board, added a new state variable at the board page level, which is passed to a flip button and the board, and the setter is passed to the flip button only, and the setter is passed to the flip button only. Cool. Add on message handler on the socket page itself. Oh, yes, this is one more thing so that we can make things a bit faster. On message handler, this goes inside the board. Yes, this is inside game.tsx. We should not define this here, rather, yep, we should not define this on board handler here. Wait, no, there are some errors. Okay, import errors. Cool. Game state. Shit, I think game state also should in that case belong belong to the global context of the game, which means go back to play here. This is fine, this is fine, this is fine, this is fine. Inside main here we have this create thing being imported, game start game state. This should also have game state, which it does have. So that is kind of stupid. This is like making a decision yesterday and then finding out today that it was very stupid. Game state. Shit, we do also need game state here because whenever game state changes, we want there to be a re-render. But we also want this state to be globally available to different components. Also, we want a re-render, which is a dilemma. Okay, let's ask ChatGPT for this. Okay, uh, I have a global state variable which is accessible by all the components application, it is defined by this library called it the stank defined by the stand on a page. I want it I want on there is a specific component which I want to re-render whenever this variable updates. How do I do this? With the stand components re-render only when they subscribe to a part of the store. Okay, shit, if something is accessing the value from the stand, it just re-renders. Shit, that is cool. Okay. The standard way, subscribe to the state inside the component like this. Use store, get the value from the store, or like do whatever you want with the value. This works. Okay, the stand detects the change. This component is subscribed to it. React re-renders the component. Shit, that is like half of the work is already done. Yes, game state, we use game. Yep, use game is there. Game state, we do not need game state. Okay, that is very cool. Let's go to the errors. Game nope, we don't need that. Nope. Game state, and here also game state, and cool. We can now just copy this from here and paste it in start game. Before navigating, yep, we do have to define what a game is. Yes, we do have to define what a game is. Game state. Ah, shit, we are calling this thing game state instead of game. Cool. Game state type. We can just import set board share. Other variables are being used there also. Handle move and everything. Shared, which I do not want to be global state. Shared. Okay, okay. Shit. No, no, no. Shit. Okay, let's describe the problem to ChatGPT and work something out. This is like duck debugging. When we explain our problem to our duck, and while we are explaining our problem, we get to the solution ourselves. Kind of like duck debugging. But in this case, the duck talks back to us. Okay, I have a page which establishes a socket connection with the back with the backend. I have a page which yes establishes a socket connection with the backend, and there is a global state socket state defined with the stand which is updated on making the connection. Then on making the connection, then the page reroutes to, before rerouting, this thing depends on its start. If its start changes, and when the WebSocket connection is made, there is a state variable which changes, and a use effect runs, which navigates to another page where on message handler is added to the socket. An on message and handler is added to the socket, but there is a delay in this whole thing. But there is a delay, or there is a significant time gap between the socket being connected and the on message handler being defined on it. And in that time, the backend has already responded with a message which is not being seen by the front end socket, because at that point it doesn't have a on message handler. So how do we fix this? Do we define the on message handler at the in the first page? Near seeing is a race yes, this is a race condition. WebSocket connection opening back and sending the first message, front end attaching on message handler. And the server sends the message before the handler is attached. The browser simply drops it. WebSocket does not buffer message for future handlers. This behavior comes from the standard WebSocket API. Yep, the root problem in your architecture right now, your flow is like this. Page A creates socket, updates the standard state, navigates to page B. Page B attaches on message handler, but the backend sends socket connects and socket sends message. So timing becomes connect backend sends message. Yep, there is a delay, too late. Correct architecture fix is attach WebSocket handler immediately when the socket is created, not in a page. Not after navigation. Before navigation, the socket should have behave like a central event source. Recommended structure: create a socket manager in your stand store or a module. Socket manager, use socket store set or get. It has a connect thing. Create. It has socket as a state and connect as a function. So we call connect. That makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. We can do this. We can do this. We have two pages. One is a page where we start the game. That is this page where we are looking at like what are the options, color for rapid increment and stuff. This page will only subscribe to the part of the stand which establishes a socket connection. Cool. And we can define on message and everything inside the stand. And since on message and everything and other stuff inside on message handler need some state, that state is already accessible to the stand, which is very cool, which is very very cool. This is very very cool. Okay, okay. So lib utils interfaces custom ops. Connect. This will have a connect. Ah, shit. This will have a connect function which doesn't do anything. Like legit, it doesn't do anything. Okay, and here yep, import create const use game equals create from the stand game state. This uses set and similar stuff. This is the definition for connect. This is not the definition for connect, but like kind of the definition for connect. What is the error here? Connect. Okay, this thing is missing quite a lot of stuff. That is the only error here. Cool. 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 And this is saying that game does not exist. This is also cool, which is also cool. Socket is null initially, let's say, and instead of game.socket we use socket find name. Okay, shit, cannot find name socket. How do we get socket in here? How do I get the latest value for a resident variable inside a function, inside a this stand function? Inside the stand store function you can get access using get. Okay, get dot count. Okay, cool. Socket equals get dot socket. This does not work. Why? What is there here? Type socket is missing following. Okay, that's cool. That is fine. Totally fine. Okay, connect is there. Library interface is custom hook. Cool. Socket is defined twice. Now cool. Export this. Okay. Substitute game dot socket. Okay, that was, I guess, the only place where game was socket, game dot socket was used. So this game dot game state. Okay, we will get all of these variables individually. Const game state equals get dot game state. Game state is declared, but its value is never read. It is going to be read. Don't worry. Substitute game dot game state with game state. Okay, cannot find name game state. Wait, why is there a error on game state? Game state type, we can just import. Put this as game state type, game state type, and state type. Okay, what are the new other errors? Cannot find start game. Start game response. Import this. Game state cannot assign game state because it is a constant. Do not assign views set here. Set game state type dot running. Okay, and game dot color. You also have to do game dot sorry, set game color to data dot color. That is the new color. And board, oh shit, board side is not available here. Yep, we have to update this once more and add one more variable to this. Board side. Do we want shit? We do not want board side to be here. We do not want board side to be here. We do not want board side to be here. Okay, that is good. We do not need board side here. We do not need board side here. We can, in our page, go back at this, in our page here. Yep, delete all this. Where are we getting use game? Yep, here we are getting game, we are getting game board side, set board side to game dot color. If game dot color, otherwise I okay, shit. That is something. Okay. Is there some other state that we need here? We are initializing board side correctly when we get to this page. We are initializing board side correctly when we get to set board side. Shit, yes, we can initialize this to random, which makes much more sense. Hang on. Yes, instead of making this, we can make this to random. Random means game has not started. Okay. Random means game has not started. And if this is random. Cool. Now, here color game dot color. Whenever game dot color updates, then do this. Yes, do this, do this, do this. If game dot color, if board side is not equal to board, wait, if board side equals board side dot random, then just colors dot random. Okay, if the board side is not initialized, then only update it. Either the game has started or has not started. In either case, make it equal to this. But if board side is equal to something, then do not do anything. Okay, 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 okay. Next, move socket response. I think is move socket response is move ref. Shit. Ah, shit. Shit, 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 shit. This needs to be defined inside here. In move ref, are we inside a move? This variable I do not want to attach to global state because that is very stupid. I do not want to attach this variable to global state. But this is not a component. This is not a component. Cool, that makes sense. This is not a component. Okay, so if I were to change this thing from a ref to a global state using the stand, I don't think there would be any problem here because we are just defining a function which is like very cheap in terms of JavaScript. Okay, in my definition of a the stand variable, I need some state from a component. I can make that state global the stand state and make this the stand variable subscribe to it. This would not cause any re-render because the definition of this the stand variable because the definition of this the stand variable is just a definition and not a component because there is no component, so there cannot be any re-render. There is no component to re-render. Mostly correct, but there are a few important mechanics of the stand. The stand is store code does not trigger react re-renders by itself when you write something like this inside. Yep, this code just wait, I'm not even using those functions. I'm not even using these set socket or all of the none. I'm not using any of these functions anywhere. Set color or anything. Okay, so before we begin, I have been updating the stand state by state dot variable equals new value and not by state dot set variable with new value. That is a serious mistake when using the stand directly. Mutating the store like this breaks the stand's update mechanism. Why this is wrong? The stand tracks through set. Ah, shit, 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 shit. But hello, just BM. How is everything? The thing is coming out nice. And wait, should your exams are going on right now? Yo, Kakashi, hello. Let me show you one thing. Let me just show you one thing. Right now, oh shit, I think I might not be able to show you because I have broken the game. In the past 1.5 hour, I was able to. Yes, error is starting game makes sense. Error is starting game because front end is broken. Ah shit, front end is broken. How's the progress is going cool. Yesterday the game was going on okay, like the last we saw, and after that I have added a switching feature. I cannot show you on this front end right now because it is broken, because I'm in the middle of a change. Yeah, and I'm in the middle of a change. But the thing that I've added after that is this thing. Uh, you can change the perspective, which is cool, which is cool. And right now what I'm doing is, there is this page called the start page. This start page, when you click on start game, makes a WebSocket connection between the front end and the back end. So let me describe the problem. There is the start page and there is the play page. On the start page we just describe what we want in our game, the time, the increment, and stuff like that. And on the play page, we actually play the game. This page makes a WebSocket connection. So if I were to create the WebSocket right here and then navigate to this page, the WebSocket closes because the WebSocket lives only as long as the page in which we created the WebSocket is still running. So we had to move this WebSocket onto a higher, you could say, higher scope, higher context. So now when this start page creates a WebSocket connection, it just gets this global WebSocket variable and updates its value and then navigates. And then this play page just also gets this variable and uses this WebSocket. And the problem is, I was on when you have a WebSocket, you have to define a on message handler. On message handler. That is what would happen if the backend sends you a message on this WebSocket. You have to define that, and I was defining that handler on this play page. But the problem is, there is a time gap between when the WebSocket is connected, established. Then I update this WebSocket variable. Second thing, then the third thing is we navigate from this start page onto this play page. And so, like, yep, that is very long. That is very long. Four things. And yes, when we do navigate to this page, then this on message handler is defined on the WebSocket. Only then. So before this on message handler is defined, four different things happened. And in that time, the backend sent a message to the WebSocket that a game has started and start playing a game, which is bad because the WebSocket does not have a on message handler till now. So WebSocket does not know what to do with the message, and it just discards the message. So the player does not know that game has started, which is a bit messed up. That is how we build. Pro fix something, and yes, four things break. Yep. So this is what I'm trying to fix right now. What I'm trying to do right now is I am so yesterday this was working. How was this working? Because on the back end I like manually added a delay. So backend APIs, game start. Here I added this 1 second delay manually, set timeout, wait for 1 second, and then update the game state and everything, then send the message from the backend after waiting for 1 second. And while the backend is waiting for 1 second, this whole process of navigating and updating variable happens, and on message handler is ready for on the socket. So what I'm trying to do now is when this page creates the WebSocket, the on message handler should be defined when the socket creates, and then we can navigate, which is cool. But the on message handler requires on message handler requires some state from this play variable. And what are those states? Those states are like the perspective of the board, uh, this in move ref. This thing keeps track, is the game running, or are we inside a move? That is the message that we are getting right now. Are we receiving it after we send to the backend a move to be played? And yeah, so some state is required, some state is required. So now I think I can make this variable. So like simply speaking, not being stupid, some variables in this page are needed on this on message handler. So I will do the same thing that I did with this WebSocket. I will move this up to a global state, and this will be imported by this and also by this. I think that is a good solution. Let's see. That is a good solution, I think. This on move and set board shit. Yes. And also define the board. Okay, board is also needed here. Board is also needed by this on message handler, obviously, because it is handling a message to update the board. So board is needed by it, and board is also needed here. So we will also put it back to a higher parent state so that it can be imported by both the things. Board is going to be a board class, and we define it when we are creating this thing. We define it as board init board. Cool. Init board is not defined. Init board is defined. Cool. Right. Yes. Yes. Init board initially. This is how we look at the board. And we also have to define a set board function. Shit. For all of these variables, we also have to define set functions. Set board function. This function takes in a board of type board and returns void. Now we have to define it here. Set board takes in the board and uses set board. Cool. And here we are using this set board function and also the board. So we want this thing to subscribe to the board. const board get board and const set board equals get dot set board. Board is declared but is never used. Here we are using the board. This is just like crazy. New board. Piece move ref. What is piece? Shit, there okay, this is another state variable which is needed by both the pages, the play page and the on message handler. What is this variable? This variable keeps track of which piece was moved. Okay, one by one, yeah, one error at a time. Pieces. Okay, move this just a function. We can import move chars, right? And here give into this new board. Cool. Game state equals game state dot ended. That is not how you do things. Set. Shit. We have to import const share const set. Wait, have I know? Yes, set game type. Wait, not type, but game state type. Game. Okay, shit. There is not a variable for set game state for updating game state. Set game state. Yes, this is what we need. And here set game state to this. Cool. And shit, we need the thing here. Set game state equals get dot set game state, and then use it here. Set game state. Set game state. G has to be capital G to ended. Remove this thing. Color C. Handle game ending. Okay, game ending. If the dinner winner, if the winner was, if the current person is winner, then get the current color. We do not even have to do this. We can just yes blue color. Wait, we have not subscribed to color. No, we have not. Const color equals get dot color, and here initially color is this. Else, if it is the other person who won the game, oh shit, winner ref. Okay, we will move this stuff up later on. This in move ref, piece move ref, and winner ref. These things have to be moved up. Color, which is an enum, as color. Cool. Okay, these things, winner ref, piece moved ref, and in move ref. These things have to be moved up a state, and for which I will create another hook. Can we know when on message handler is completed, so that we start the backend? The backend is always running. The backend is always running, and I think yep, this would just increase the complexity a little bit. more. Instead of, yeah, instead of this we can just add a timer if that is what we are looking for, but I think this is fine. We can define on message handler at this point. Shit, but we also have to, should not have to, we should custom hooks. Yes, custom hook game pages start, game start here. Shit, this thing should be game start. Yes, should not be here. This should also be here, not here, here. Connect. Yes, connect, inside connect. Yes, shit, yes, inside connect. This should be inside connect. Start game, which is just a function, import it. Start game, okay. These things are needed as parameters here. Color of type, colors, game type of type, game types, and parse int. Shit, what? The third thing is increment. Yes, cool. Increment. The third thing is called increment. Type number. Right, and game increment. We are calling that thing increment there, and game increment here. You don't have to do this. We can just call it increment for what it is. And here we can say color and all this. Increment is already a number. Cool. Color, what is the problem? Duplicate. Shit. Yeah, this is the thing. Set color equals set color. Cool. Set color. Shit, call set color with not this. Rest dot open. Rest dot color. Yes, color is fine. Color is fine. On open. This is just open. Game type. Set game type. Constant game type. Or since this is like in here, we do not have to use all these things, at least not here. Here we can use just set directly. Set color type and set, wait, okay, set color, game type, and game increment. Game increment equals increment, right, and socket to this, right, and set start. Wait, start is also there, right? Start is, no, shit, start is not, shit, start is needed there. Set start is needed here. And the type of set start will be where is that? Set start. The type of set start is react.dispatch react set state action. React.dispatch with react.set state action, and the internal value is boolean. Cool. This is needed. Paste. Cool. That is good. And okay. Start game. Yep. Not needed. And game state. Game state is what is needed. Here, button on click. Shit, we are getting the like whole thing. No, we do not need the whole thing. We just need connect equals game state dot. Wait, how do we subscribe to one thing? Just one thing. This is creating. How do we subscribe to just one thing? Example will with multiple set states. Some stand demo. Cool. Okay. Here, use store. Call it, and destructure the thing. I don't want to get anything else. Okay, cool. And here we will just call connect with all the things. It needs color. Let's give it color. Game type. Okay. And this should just work. This should just work. Now we have to lift state. All that remains is we have to lift state from this play page into its own just and global state, and make that state hook or subscribe to by this, by the on message handler. Here and these state are 4. This in move ref set board, yes, set board, yes, set game state. Oh, shit, no, set board and set game state, these are like available here. Shit, okay. Const set board equals get dot set board const set game state game state, right? Okay, this in move ref, and then this piece moved, and then winner ref. Okay, state shared between on message handler state dot ts here. Let's say we define everything cool. Okay, the things that are needed are just this: winner ref, winner ref, which is just a color, right? Winner, which is just like color, which is just a color, or null, preferably at the start, right? And okay, winner, piece moved, last piece moved, and in move. Piece moved is pieces or null. Piece moved is pieces or null, and in move is boolean, right? And then setter functions for these. Set winner is of type that does not that takes in a color of type color, and then returns void, and then set piece moved takes in piece or type pieces and returns void, and then set in move also does this. Use game, no, on message, use on message handler state, which puts forward not this on message handler state interface on message handler state, and it should not describe all of this stuff. This is missing quite a few things, and cool. State is now lifted. We just need to put it in two places. One of these places is this import on message handler state, like use on message handler state, and use this to get these variables. Substitute dot current with like nothingness. Okay, winner, and also ref, like remove this ref thing. Substitute ref with also nothing. Cool. And this is on message. Yes, cool, that is cool. Okay, const, the things that I want to subscribe to is move, winner, and piece move equals use on message handler state dot get move shit, nope. In cool. Cannot assign set set no shit set in shit. Okay, okay. When we are assigning, we also need their shit assigner functions. Set in move. Set in move to wait, what? Set in move to false. New board piece moved might be null. Piece moved might be null. Legitimate concern. Piece moved might be null. Piece moved might be null. There are a couple of fixes, but the one that I want to use is this. This is not never null. Pieces dot, let's say, an n. Shit, pieces was imported as a type. Pretty sad, but cool. Cool. And now winner, we cannot set winner like this. Since shit, set winner, and here call set winner to data dot winner. Is this what we were doing before? No, color dot c. Set winner to color capital C and set winner and just import set winner. Winner is never used, which is a bit surprising, but okay. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Now we have to pull all of these in play. Should we are inside play? Okay. This board, we don't need it here. Or what about board shade? Board side winner right and board side. Use on message handler state const set use on message handler state. All this has winner and piece move and in move and set winner, set in move, set piece move, all in here board. Okay, we are not using board side here. We are not using board side here. On message game start, when the game starts, set okay when game starts, since Yeah, cool, cool, cool. Uh, cool. Okay, 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 okay. Here we can have back our board side variable. Fine, no shame in that. And everything else can go away. Cool. Okay. Const use on message state, all this, and here we have winner in move and piece moved, set winner, set piece moved, set in move. Okay. Oh wait, what? All destructed elements are unused. Destructured elements are unused. Yes, because here we are using ref. Should not be using ref. Okay, everything that has a ref and then dot current, which is just to legit just one thing, substitute it with nothing. Set in move to. Okay, let's also remove this. And the next error, board. Set piece move. Board. Board also needs to be shit, got an error. Board equals use game. Okay, board is here. Set board is also needed with board. And then okay, okay, you have to define their types. Cool. In move, in move. Yes, we go. Okay, cool, cool, cool. And also color to set board side. To set board game dot color. Wait, what? Why do we have game here? Game dot socket. Okay, color. Okay, every place where we have game dot, where we have game capital G, shit, capital G, shit, small game G, and then a legit dot, substitute that with nothing. Okay, we need game increment and game type and game state. Game type, game state, game increment. Cool. How are we doing? Okay, we just have to update types. Type for set board. Set board type is just a function that takes in a board and returns nothing. Set board is a function that takes in a board of board type and returns void. Cool, cool. And then set piece mode. piece moved. Yes, update this also to a function that takes in a piece of type pieces and returns void. Can I say pieces? No, I cannot. Set piece moved. Yep, there must be a the way that we are setting mode that has to change. Board piece moved piece moved ref piece moved set piece moved. Okay, any yes, there are other errors here, and then set board with new board, do this, don't use this, set piece. Shit, wait, what? Shit, I need the cleanup value. I need the cleanup value. Wait, what? Cleanup pin. I need the cleanup value, which means I also need not just the updater function but the value also. Shit. Piece mode. And any other error? Not at all. Or we could subscribe to this directly, to these variables directly. Shit, which would make more sense. Shit, yes. Color is also there. Set board is also there. Make move, no, make move is not there. Set piece mode is there. Board side, yes. These two things are the only things which need to be set in shade. That's crazy. That is crazy. Set piece mode. Board side is a color, and okay, const equals use game. We can subscribe to the state directly. Cool. What are the other things we need to subscribe to? Color. Subscribe to color. And what else? Okay, why is there an error? Because color might be null. Shit. Color is not null when it is there. Is move valid. Color is not null when it is here. Set board, set piece moved. Const piece mode equals use on message. Piece mode, set piece mode, and what else? Color. Shit, okay. This is the only thing left. We don't have set board. We do have set board. Okay. Piece move. Color. Okay. Color might be null here. If color is true, then use color. Otherwise, colors dot white. Let's say. Otherwise, colors dot random. Okay, this should hopefully now work. Start a game. Okay, nothing. What do we see on the back end? Nothing is happening. Okay, I am clicking on this button and nothing is happening. Okay, that is messed up. That is messed up. Right. Load this one. Okay, that is just one printing something. That is cool. GPU, RAM. Wait, RAM. How much is the RAM good? 1 GB. Brave is taking 1 GB of RAM. That is crazy. Okay. What is the problem? My uh, just give it board side, which is needed, and set board is not needed. Colors is not needed. Make move is needed, and this is not also needed. There are other errors. Set piece. Okay, yes. Shit. This is very cool. This is very cool. Okay, now. When we are on this start page, we are calling this connect function. Log file. Don't we see this? It's like move this away. Cool. Move this away. Let's see. Inspect console. Refresh a couple of times. Error. Connect is what? Do we see high now? We do see high. Okay, connect is not a function. Connect is a legitimate function. Connect is a function. Connect is not. Connect is not a function, which does not make sense. Connect is not a function. Okay. I have this variable in JS and it says that can that connect is not a function. I'm calling it. Your line, yes, this connect should be a function with this signature, yes, but you never assign a function to it. No, I have to. Interfaces, custom hooks, export this variable. Connect is defined inside console.log from connect. And we are also importing use game here from main. From main, where shit, okay, that makes so much sense. Now that must have broken. Yeah, that must have broken stuff. Import use game from the correct place now. Okay, and where else do we see some error? Here. Import use choose game from the correct place, and here import use game. And is there some other error? No. Okay, now connect should be a function. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Empty socket. Let's not go shit. Okay. We did saw from connect. Yes, we did saw from connect. Socket is empty. Socket is empty. Of course it is empty because the connection is not made yet. Wait, we don't even have to check for socket empty or not. We can just here do press shit. Shit. That makes so much sense. That just makes a lot of sense. Okay. What do we see now? Loading. We should not see loading. The connection is off. From okay. And here start. Okay, there was a delay, which is like let me fix the delay problem first. Let's say now we remove this delay and we rerun the back end. Run start. Start here. Start. Start. And when I click on this, the game should start immediately. It does start immediately on both the sides. Okay. This person is white. Let's say white plays this. The move was made, but it was not seen. It was not visible. It was not visible. Okay. I guess I'll do it at some point. Yep. Okay. Yes. Not right now. I want to rest for a bit. Okay. Cool. Status. We have a random file named this. Cool. Git add. Git commit. Moved. Yes, this is a fix. Moved on message handler for socket to a the stand state. I think that's good enough. Git push. What does it mean? Yeah, and I will debug it later. Like, what is the problem? Like, what is this? What is this? What is this? And why are we getting? Yeah, performance. Premature optimization is the root of all evil. What is this? Yep, we will have to fix this. We can move this. Yes. Yes, I will have to fix this later on, but for now, this much is pretty cool. Debug skill server. And yep, we did. Uh, yeah, okay, cool. That would be it for today. And for today, that would be it. We may made the board so that like it could flip, and second we moved on message handler up a state and made it a global state variable. Cool. And that would be it for today. And thank you for being here. Bye.